everyone. This week we are going to be creating some art inspired by Eric Carle. He was a very famous author and illustrator. And if you watched the video that I posted, which was an animated film of the Hungry Caterpillar, you might have noticed that there was a lot of color in all of his art. And that those colors, the way they mixed together, they created texture. Today, we are going to be using both of these words to create our own Hungry Caterpillar. You are going to need your sketchbook, a pencil, your crayons, or whatever you have that you'd like to color with. And if you would like, you may outline with a marker. This week, you are an artist. You can follow directions in a guided drawing when you learn how to draw the Eric Carle caterpillar. You can create texture and art like Eric Carle using some found objects in your home and really using your imagination. And lastly, you can describe how an art piece looks. You're going to use your eyes and look at Eric Carle's different animations in the video I showed you and think about what you see, what do you notice throughout that whole film. To start, I need you to turn to the next clean page in your sketchbook. And if you had a situation like mine where you had some bleed through, you can actually take that out and then you will use this later because we want a completely clean page. Turn your paper horizontal for me. Horizontal is whenever it's long. This is also known as landscape. So first things first, we are going to get our Hungry Caterpillar on the page. To do so, I need you to first decide where you want this to be on the page. So I like to do a sketch of the body, just kind of like a skeleton. So I'm gonna put this bumpy line on my page like that. This is so I can follow it when I add the rest of his body. Now first, we have to give our caterpillar a head. So I'm gonna put a circle in front of my little lion skeleton. And next, we're gonna add his body. The caterpillar was made of some rectangles with rounded edges. So I'm going to put them starting next to my circle. Put one straight line, another straight line, and I'm gonna put a curved cap on the end. Then I'm gonna go up a little bit more, following this line, my two straight lines, cap it. Next one, I have to kind of angle it a little bit so it fits on that curve. And I'm gonna keep following this until I get to the end right here. Now you should have all of your rectangles along with your head right here. We gotta add some details. First, I wanna add my feet. With the little caterpillar feet, they look like a backwards L. So put one underneath each of your rectangles, just like that. Next, I gotta get his facial features. So I'm gonna put two circles. They're kind of big. You see, I used up most of that top half of the circle. And then I'm gonna put another circle in there that's just a little smaller. I don't really have that much of a space between them. His little mouth, which was a circle. And lastly, his antenna. I'm gonna put a curved line, going back to this point, curved line, cap. The other side, curved line, going back to that first point, curved line, put a cap. We are going to next add our color and texture just like Eric Carle. So what I want you to do is take a minute and go find some things in your house that have texture. Things I found was a piece of cardboard. I ripped off the first side and now I have these ridges. I also found a coffee sleeve. This was a little hard to see, but there's a little bit of a waffle pattern on there. I found a gourd. This one's gonna be a little hard to use, but I wanna make it work. And lastly, I found a little pasta spatula thing that I thought had a cool pattern and texture on it. When you're finding stuff, make sure you're allowed to grab it. If this is something you can't have, probably don't use it. Once you have your things, you might want at least 2. We are gonna do some texture rubbings underneath our rectangles. So you can use whatever colors you would like today. This is your caterpillar and I'd love to see what you come up with. And I'm going to start with my face. So I'm gonna try it out. I actually don't know if this cardboard is gonna turn out okay, but that's the fun of this. We're gonna learn. So I'm going to rub my crayon over this very lightly. I have my texture underneath the shape I'm going to create, and I'm very lightly coloring on top. If you press really hard to your crayon, it will break through the paper, so we want to avoid that. Like that. You can see those cardboard ridges came through on my paper with my crayon. So now I'm gonna repeat this process using some different textures. So I actually wanna try out, this one I think is gonna be a little tricky, but I wanna experiment. Use my purple crayon. Let's see what that, oh, that actually is turning out kind of neat. Going along the edges. I really want some of that texture to come through. Just like that. Try your best to stay in the line. It's a little tricky, but if you persevere, it's possible. And try my quilted. This one I might press a little harder. And you're gonna repeat this process for the rest of your elements. And if you wanna try doing your facial features with the texture, I'd love to see it. So once you have your caterpillar all finished, we are going to wrap it up by adding a couple details. You may either use a black marker to outline everything. You could reinforce the color you use by going over it with your crayon, or if you'd like to outline using a black crayon, but we want to give some bold lines to this as well. Let's add some little details, like maybe some little hairs on the top of your caterpillar. We want to make this look as much like Eric Carle's drawings as possible. And then this is your finished drawing. However, if you want to add a background to this, maybe you add the ground that the caterpillar is walking on, and even better, maybe add some more texture to it, like this. You can really have a well-rounded drawing. But if you want to keep it just as a caterpillar, that works for me. Have fun.